This is a demonstration for making your notepad. It starts from the process of getting your proof print approved and will take you to the end of a final product. This is your grade sheet for the notepad. Here is your proof print from the computer. You can check it out yourself before you have it approved by me. First, we will fold the page in half vertically and then fold it in half the other direction. What we're looking for is a nice even border around all four sides of your notepad. We're also looking to see that your borders are the same on all of your individual pages. This looks good, so we're ready to proceed. Once you've gotten my approval, you're going to send your document to print to the Esante Illumina IQ. This is the Illumina IQ. It is basically a laser printer on steroids. There's the Illumina. I guess I spelled it wrong on the board. In order to print from the Illumina, we have to have a job management software. I'll pull that up. That is IQ. That's what it looks like. And it will bring up all the jobs that you've printed or that people have printed. That's your job, or the job we're going to print today. I'll select that. I'll specify which tray and what paper we want to feed. I'll put in 25 copies and send that to the digital press. The digital press will say processing, and you can see it has bars that indicate the individual colors and the toner levels for each color. Just like the laser printer, it has a paper drawer. There's our 8.5 by 11 paper, or letter size paper. Our display is saying that it's processing. And again, CMYK. You can see we have 3 of our cartridges that are getting quite low. Once it's processed and it receives the data, it will print and distribute your 25 pages upside down. So don't panic if you don't see your image. The image is on the bottom side when the paper is fed like this, or I should say delivered from the press here. It also has a conveyor where we have large stock or large quantities, and we can have them feed out the conveyor. You can see the green belts on the left. So we're almost done with our 25 copies. You can see it looks just like our proof. Our gutters and spaces are all the same. Now we'll head to the jogging machine. This is a paper jogger. This will jog the paper into one nice neat pile with all the edges nice and even. And this is our paper shear. The paper shear is going to cut through, it could actually cut through a whole phone book. Remember, we're letter size paper, 8.5 by 11. And then we're going to start by cutting the 11 inches in half. Turning a hand wheel to adjust the digital readout. I'll back out here and you can see me turning the hand wheel and keeping the paper pressed up against the stops. Once it's against the stops and we're at the measurement we want, we'll tighten the clamp. And there are 2 green buttons on each side. We have to hold both of them down until it cuts all the way through the paper. Once it's cut through, we'll release the clamp, and they should be identical. So we'll stack them on top of each other so they're all facing the same direction. I have a piece of chipboard that we're going to use for a backer, just like any notebook or notepad that you have. It has a support sheet on the back. Makes it easier to write on. We'll make sure all your papers are up against the stop, and this time we'll set it at half of 8.5, which is 4 1/4. You want the red dot indicates that you've moved the hand wheel backwards, so you want to make sure that you push it back past your dimension and then bring it forward to the dimension. You can see I pushed both buttons at the same time and released them as soon as it cut through the paper. So now I have 4 identical pieces from each sheet. Now we'll head to our padding press. There's already a notepad bound or padded in the padding press. We're going to release the pressure on the clamps. There's a squeeze lever on the left or on the right, depending on which side you're on, that releases the tension, allows you to pull those up. This bar was just stuck there with a little bit of excess glue. This is what's called a padding knife. We're going to use that to separate the notepad from the padding press itself. It's just excess glue there. And there was a finished notepad. We'll pull the pin and rotate the padding press the other direction. You can see there's a backer board here. They're hanging on a screw. We'll insert that in the slot at the bottom and make sure the hook is over the top. We're going to make sure your notepad is stacked up nice and neatly. The top edge actually goes against the board. I know it seems wrong at this point, but the top edge goes against the board. We could clamp it there, but if there are other people in your class that are waiting, at least up to 4 of you could do this at one time. We would stack them next to each other with the top edge against the board. There's room for one more, although we don't have anybody ready for that. We'll put the bar across the top, lower the clamps, and then tighten them evenly on each side so we have nice even pressure. The backer board goes back up on the wall, hanging on the screw. We'll remove the pin from the table or the padding press, rotate that around, and then that will lock in place. Next we need padding cement. It's a rubberized glue. Make sure we keep the lid on. This is just a jar of water that keeps the brush from drying out. We want to get as much water out of the brush as we can. And then we'll use the brush, just dip the first ½ inch or so of the brush in the padding cement, and we want to make sure that we get glue along all the edges and just the top edge, but all the individual sheets, especially the chipboard, so it glues all together into one finished notepad. So I'm gluing these other 2 up. Make sure I have a good even coat across all the pages. You don't want to put it on too thick or it'll take a long time to dry. The brush goes back in the water, and we put the lid on the padding cement. Please make sure you put the lid on, because we're going to actually help this process along a little bit by putting a fan on the glue. We'll rotate the fan there, turn it on, and the table is actually on wheels, so we'll move that closer. After about 5 minutes, you can come back, put a second coat of glue on, and I recommend 2 to 3 coats of glue.